For anyone who hasn't met me, my name is Milan. I'll be the moderator, and I'm also a client success manager at CrossCountry's NetSuite practice. So we're going to spend about 45 minutes together. We'll work out time for Q&A at the end, but feel free to drop any questions you have as we go along in the chat, and we'll make sure that we either work them in or help get them answered at the end. And then at the end of the presentation, we'll also be following up with a visual document for you, including like the maps we have as part of this, how to use the agenda builder, and any other tips or tricks, packing checklist that might be helpful to you to take with you after this webinar. So for anyone who's just joining, we were asking for everyone to go ahead and drop in the chat where they're joining from. We have people from Calgary, from India, we got South Carolina, we got Utah, so this is pretty awesome. And I will introduce you to our panel. So one of our first speakers is Adam Riches, who's the CEO at NetGain. He's a former controller, a CPA, and a NetSuite insider who helped shape Suite success. We have Chris Miller, who is the senior VP at NetGain. He is known for simplifying complex finance flows, help build advanced NetSuite features. We have Derek Hitchman, who leads the CrossCountry NetSuite practice. He was also the founder of SES Cloud, and he is great at blending strategy with hands-on delivery for practical NetSuite solutions. And he also led his team to winning the North American Solution Provider Award for 2024 or 2023. And then we have Chris Wernett, who is the founder of Super Training, who many of you probably have seen the videos for. He combines his accounting know-how and NetSuite know-how with great video skills to make awesome NetSuite tutorials. So we'll actually go from there into the first kind of section. We will have a poll for you at the end of the first section. So just so you know what to expect today, we're going to be covering 6 key areas. We'll be doing sessions and keynotes, navigating the Expo and Commons, networking and after hours, restaurants, that's where that comes in, packing to know, and then just navigating the general Las Vegas area so that you know how to get around there. So we will start out with sessions and keynotes and going over some of the key points on that. So my first question will be to Derek and Chris Miller, which will be, how should attendees pick sessions that really deliver value?
Yeah, thanks, Milan. I'll take a crack at that, and then Chris, feel free to chime in here. But I think on sessions that deliver value, I mean, I think that you kind of need to choose the sessions that you feel are most applicable to you. And I think there's a couple ways to do that. First of all, obviously looking at the agendas and the topics of the sessions, that's one way to do it, but also looking at the speakers of the sessions, because you're going to have a different style of session depending on the type of speaker. So if that speaker is a customer, for example, they're going to be giving their single perspective on the topic. If that speaker is someone from NetSuite, maybe they have some insight into the tools and the products at NetSuite. Or if that speaker is from a partner, you might get a broader view of the ecosystem or something like that. So that would be one thing to keep in mind, I'd say.
Great.
Yeah, I like that. Kind of related to what Derek said, when I would go, I mean, the first advice I give you is if I'm speaking, you don't want to, that could be boring. So I'm just teasing you.
Avoid all Miller sessions.
Yeah, avoid all Miller sessions if you know it's good for you. But when I would go, because even when I worked for NetSuite, I would always try to go to sessions. First thing I'm going to say, look for, just like Derek said, you want to look for someone who's actually, that there are sessions that are sales focused and sessions that are user focused. If you see that the speaker is someone who's in marketing and you're a longtime NetSuite user, or that, probably not, but you want to kind of focus more of the product managers, the solution consultant, the dev customers who are displaying kind of work that they have. I found that those sessions, when you go to say, I want to learn how to do something, are fantastic. Now, if you're attending for the first time, a lot of times you don't know what NetSuite can do. And I would recommend, as a first-time attendee, try to find a couple of sessions where they talk broadly about what NetSuite can do, because just what you saw in your sales cycle is not necessarily everything that NetSuite can do. And you may find that there are a lot of things that you're like, I wish NetSuite could do this, I wish NetSuite could do this, are actually things that NetSuite can do quite well. You just don't know about it. And the best way to get exposed to a wide variety of topics is to hit a few of those like overview sessions where you can learn what NetSuite can do as well.
I just wanted to add to that. Like, I think sometimes, well, a lot of people go to SuiteWorld with, to solve particular issues that you're dealing with. And so I think that's a great way to figure out what sessions to join is, like if you're running into some safe search issues, right? And you've got some problems getting the right search run, like going to the safe search session is great generally, but like very specifically, I think, like Derek mentioned, making sure, like you've got the right speakers or presenters. But then afterwards, like sitting in the front and then grabbing immediately afterwards. Like I know, so I've presented many times. I know Chris and Derek have like, and when there's always people that come up after to talk about very specific questions, and you can really rack, like the minds of some of these really smart people by hitting them right after the session. And getting answers to those very specific questions that you might have. So that's one way to kind of shape it. And one thing I think we missed on the intro is how many times we've been to SuiteWorld.
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. How many times have you guys been?
Yeah, I don't think we've aggregated, like collectively. I've
it was
been
like 30,
11
35 in total, 36.
Yeah, something like that. I've been 11 times. I missed the only year between 2014 and this year was 2020 when I think everybody missed it, for COVID. So I'm 11.
11. And Chris Wernett, how many times are you?
This is my third, or no, 3 going on 4.
Okay, great. And Derek, how many years have you gone?
I think this will be 9, something like that. So quite a few.
Okay, and Chris Miller?
10.
10. Okay, so we have a lot of years of aggregate knowledge of attending SuiteWorld here.
Now, the person who has gone to the most gets a Lamborghini at the end of this. So
that sounds amazing, Chris.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not that anyone can beat Adam after this. It sounds like we already have a clear winner. Okay, great.
Yeah. We should hear. Yeah, if we could get the chat. How many times have the attendees been?
How many times you guys have gone as well? If there are first time attendees, let us know. But we'd love to hear some first time attendees here. Yeah. Great. Oh man, our tips are going to save you so much.
Very cool. Yeah.
Awesome. And then one interesting question we had from a speaker is, are you still finding value after attending for so many years? Are you still learning new things, getting new data? I'll direct this one to you, Adam. I'd love to hear.
Holy cow. It is absolute. Like, so I'll go to different conferences throughout the year. This one is by far the one that I look forward to the most because there's so many different fronts, right? There's new partners that come up every year with new different products, different tools that they've built on the NetSuite platform. And then like the networking opportunities are huge. It's great to rub shoulders with so many different CFOs, controllers, accounting teams that seem to me at least to be in, kind of our size, like our growth rate, like dealing with a lot of the same challenges that we're dealing with. Just from my perspective at NetGain, like it's good to meet so many people from these different companies that have come up with solutions to some of the same problems that we're facing. So I love it from that perspective. I of course love meeting all of our customers, and then I've been in the NetSuite ecosystem for so long. It's been great. But I think one of the unique things right now that we've seen radically shifting are the new products, the new capabilities that are coming out through, just the AI adoption has been amazing to watch and see, and is one of the things I'm most excited about going to this year and learning more about.
Makes sense. And then I guess that's a question I'd love to hear from each of you on is, what do you think is the thing you get the most value out in going multiple years in a row, or where do you find new value every year? Chris Miller, if you want to tell us next from that.
Yeah, I'll start. There are 2 places I really look. I love the Partner Expo because I love looking at what people do excellent. I love seeing things that are done like really in an excellent way and learning things. I can't tell you how many times I have kind of walked the halls. Adam and I have done this together, even when we were together in NetSuite, and we would see someone go like, man, what a great idea. And it would spur something like, how they did that? We could do this for that. And the kind of the collective knowledge when you get to see excellence, I really like that because it's fun to learn. The other thing I have always enjoyed is kind of like what Adam talked about. We work with so many people, but it's virtual, like this here. This is kind of the one time when you get to see your colleagues, your customers, your people in person, and be able to really make a connection. And sometimes those connections are the most valuable, that you make in several years, when he'll be like, hey, remember we met here, or we did this. And it really helps make for everybody to feel much more like a community. And to me, that's always kind of the spirit. I've been to many conferences like Adam. Actually, SuiteWorld creates a very kind of neat community feel. And maybe it's because I went to the very early ones when maybe I felt like at times I was the community as the customer attendee. But I've always enjoyed that sense of spirit that NetSuite has been able to maintain, even as they became part of Oracle.
Great. Derek and Chris, do you guys have anything else to add to that as well?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that from my perspective, and what I enjoy is seeing my clients that I've worked with over the years there at SuiteWorld, and each of those clients is coming for oftentimes slightly different reasons. So I think defining your own purpose and areas of interest, is important when you go to SuiteWorld. I think for the clients that I've talked to, the ones that get the most out of it are ones who define a few goals, just write down a few goals of why they're going and what they're going for. Because there's a lot of noise at SuiteWorld, right? You can see a lot of partners and a lot of solutions, and there's a lot of people coming up and a lot of hype around everything, which is all great. But I think understanding where your business wants to go on NetSuite and what are the areas that you want to work on over the course of the next 1 or 2 years, and then going and targeting other customers and partners and NetSuite themselves to go and look at those areas. I think that it's always fun to help our clients do that at SuiteWorld when I meet them there, and that's always enjoyable.
Great. Chris, Warnett, anything from you on that?
Yeah, just what they've discussed. And then I think in the first couple of years, it's all shock and awe about all the features and just the Expo in general. And I think, especially what these guys have experienced, as you go more and more years, you really start to come back for the people that and those relationships.
Makes sense. By the way, Chris, we do have a request. If you could make yourself more available for people to find you during the lunches.
Working on it.
The SuiteWorld, that would be fantastic.
I'm working on it. I have a running log of the weirdest places people have come up to me and said hello. So.
Great. And then one last question. Are there any other tips from you guys on choosing the best sessions to attend? I think we covered the basics there.
I think so.
Yeah, the keynotes are always over the top. And that's where we learn about the new features that come out. Evan presents oftentimes, and we learn about some of the new exciting stuff coming out. So the keynotes are always entertaining, for sure.
100%, 100%. We do have one tip that might be helpful. We just got asked about that, which is if you could share the agenda builder, which NetSuite does have. It is live now, and you can go on there and register for these events. Registering early is definitely a great tip so that you can get there as much as you can. But this is the agenda builder. Anybody who has questions on it, please feel free to email me or Raina afterwards. We'll include our contact data in the follow-up. But here are all the sessions listed, on-air sessions, anything you need to be able to book for SuiteWorld.
Yeah. Also keep in mind, if you're not able to register for a session, you can still go. You're just going to stand in the back. It's not you're prevented from watching.
Okay. They don't turn you away at the door.
Yeah. Get out of here.
Okay, great. And then we did have one question from you guys. We are going to run a poll, which is that we'd love to hear what SuiteWorld topic you are most interested in learning about this year. We just published that. If you could go ahead.
Yeah, while they're running the poll, Brett Hayden made a comment, that one of the biggest mistakes he made was loading up on sessions, being nonstop, with these different sessions. And I agree. I think giving yourself some time, like to network at lunch, like to go through the expo hall and talk to the partners. Obviously, going back to the NetSuite's got a bunch of their professionals, back that can help you with different topics in the back. So there's leaving some gaps, I think is super helpful, and the days can be very long and intense too. So yeah, that's good feedback, Brent.
Okay, good. Yeah, our top topic is AI, which is not surprising. We definitely have a lot of people interested in AI this year, and what is being added and into NetSuite to help increase that functionality. So I'm sure there will be a number of web or of seminars and stuff on that topic, sessions. So the next session kind of feeds right into that, which is about the Expo and the Commons. So other places you guys can do networking, meet all the partners, everything like that. And I guess my first question would be Chris Wernett, because you get into the Expo hall, it's massive. Everyone is there. Every booth is interested in talking to you. So what is kind of like your go-to routine when you first hit the Expo floor on figuring out where to go first or what to do?
I think kind of going off of what Adam brought up is you don't want to not give yourself free time, because the sessions that you would be booking, those are all going to happen. Like if you look at a map of it, which I think we'll include in this, there's the Expo, and surrounding that, there's all the sessions. So you're going to have times when you're going to specific sessions that you want, and other times you just wander around the Expo hall. In terms of what you see first, I mean, you can choose what you want. Honestly, there's not a best option. They've got it broken up where they have like all the vendors and third-party apps that you can check out. There's a whole section for that. Like Adam mentioned, there's also a section with all the NetSuite run products and booths. Like if you want to look at FSM or CPQ, WMS, they'll have booths for all of that. One of the main things I recommend to people is if there's a particular solution that they're trying to check out, make sure that you go to the booth from NetSuite. Like if you need a WMS system, go look at the WMS booth, get the demo, let them walk you through it. Sometimes I even hang around and let other people go through the demo, because they'll ask interesting questions about their own problems and situation. And then as soon as you get a concept of what that can do, then go look at the alternative option in the third-party booths. There's like RF Smart booths. You can go look at what do they have compared to what you just saw with WMS. That's a great place to just get a comparative on any one particular solution you're trying to check out.
Great. That's great advice. And then, Adam, I know that you had some insider detail for us on what's the best thing to look for swag, or how to find great treats and stuff like that in the Expo hall as well.
I think Chris Miller is the expert on. I always come with a really small bag, and I know I should bring stuff home to the kids, but it's always tight. But there's always great stuff to give out. NetSuite always has, like these the claw machines where you can get a toy. Like it's all kind of free, right? Like there's no, but yeah, there's stuff. It feels like there's stuff everywhere. To get swag everywhere, but especially the sponsors will sometimes have good swag, good giveaway materials. But to follow up on what Chris mentioned, I think one thing that helps when you go in, and I think it's meant to be this way, but when you walk into that Expo hall, like it is just like colors and lights and like sponsors everywhere, NetSuite signage everywhere. It's, I think, meant to be overwhelming. But I think one thing that can help too is when you go in, do some research beforehand. If you want to talk to NetGain or CrossCountry or, some of these other partners, do some research beforehand on what challenges you have and what partners kind of generally align. There's a good chance the partners will be there. Most NetSuite partners show up to this event. And so find out beforehand and then go find the booth when you go in, and that's an easy way to orient. That's what I usually do. There's new partners that pop up all the time that I'm interested in talking to. Oftentimes you'll find the founders there, like you'll find the CTO of the company sitting there at the booth, and you can get some really, really good access and ask some of these detailed questions and hear it straight from the horse's mouth. So
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. And I think that one thing I noticed, especially last SuiteWorld keeps getting bigger every year, and I'm not sure where they're going to host it next year. But for this year, we're in the Caesars Forum again, which is a pretty big place, but we've kind of maxed it out. I mean, it is packed in there. And if you go into the Expo Hall during the busy times, it's very loud and very, very busy. And it can be tough to find things in there too. Like I've noticed on the last day of SuiteWorld vendors and booths that I never saw, even though I've been walking the Expo Hall for days at a time. And so it's I think finding as well some quieter times to be able to explore the Expo Hall and talk with the vendors when it's not the rush time and they're kind of feeling pressure to speak with everybody that they know already, then I think that's usually a good time to go and really dive a little bit deeper if you want to with certain products.
Yeah, and I do know, I saw the question from Tim regarding Expo hours, and they are pretty long. I believe the Expo Hall opens around 7:30 a.m. and is open until about 4:30 or 5. Yeah. So there is a long stretch, but definitely either being there early or being there toward right at the end of the day is less busy than trying to be there in the middle of the day, navigating around in there.
Yeah, end of the day is always quieter.
Yes, and one just tip for me that we have is if you are trying to meet team members in there, find a landmark or something that's easy, find a booth with a number to meet each other at, because otherwise it is very easy to, whoever you're with turned around for 1 second to look at one booth while you looked at another and you guys lose each other. So just know that it's always good to have a common meeting point agreed upon with your team members so you guys can find each other again.
And then I was just going to add as we close, tell everyone, Adam he teases me about the swag, because one time my kids gave me this big bag and said, "Can you fill this up, Dad?" And so I took the challenge, and I've never lived that down. But
well, and a pro tip here. Oftentimes there's a booth giving away backpacks, and so you can get a backpack and you can fill it with swag.
The NetGain and the CCC booth this year, we have a joint high roller bag we made, and it's specifically to help you cover your swag. So feel free to come start.
Remember the fundamental law of swag at SuiteWorld. Day one, they own that. They're not giving that stuff up for anything. Like, you better be ready to buy.
They're very stingy with the swag.
Yes, very stingy. So only use your early days to kind of do reconnaissance missions on what you want. And then you go Thursday morning and you don't have to have a sales pitch. You just say, "I really just want that pin." And they say, "Take it." And then you got the swag.
They're doing whatever they can do to not have to haul all the swag home. And so they want to unload all of it. They'll give you 10 pins.
Yeah. Somewhere about in right before the party on Wednesday night, your leverage switches and it goes from a buyer's market to a seller's market. So
the tables turn.
Yeah. One other important question too on the Expo Hall is, obviously many of the guys attending can't necessarily just cancel all their meetings for the week. And I know that you gentlemen have had to take many meetings while you're still at SuiteWorld. So if you do have to take a Zoom call, a Teams meeting, is it worth it to take it in the Expo Hall, or where do you recommend just honestly doing that?
Man, well, Derek's probably taking the most calls at SuiteWorld. Every time I do see him, I run into him. He's on a call. So he's got the best answer. But like the hack I found is the Expo Hall, there's some couch areas and stuff, but it's always so loud in the Expo Hall. If you exit the Expo Hall, there's you go down, there's all these sessions, the bathrooms are out there. And then when you exit the Expo Hall and you go, there's an outside area that sometimes is quiet. If the weather's not too hot, you can go sit outside on this big patio. And it's usually really quiet out there. And then if you just go straight, I'm trying to, when you're exiting the Expo Hall and you go left, the hall goes way down, seems like for miles. The further you go down, the quieter it is down there too. And there's seats and benches all the way down. And there's always a good spot, quiet spot to take a call. Or if you're Derek, you just take the call wherever.
He's on calls right now.
Yeah, he's on
right.
3 calls now.
Exactly. No, I found the same. Like the expo hall is just too noisy to do a proper phone call unless you can find a way to sneak into one of the like reserved partner areas for meetings and stuff like that. That sometimes works, but they're usually pretty strict about where you can go and what you can do. But finding one of those little nooks where they have some stuff further down the expo area is good. Outside can be good. They sometimes crank the music up outside intentionally to stop people from being on calls and stuff like that. But sometimes that can be good as well. And yeah, that's what I found. Also, if you're going to do a meeting, like use Teams or use something that has background noise cancellation on it, because if you get on a cell phone call, it's usually extremely loud for the other person that's hearing you. So those would be my tips. I've definitely done my fair share of calls during SuiteWorld, or just go back to the hotel, which is kind of the other factor, right? Is that SuiteWorld is actually a pretty big place, and so just being aware of where you're staying. Las Vegas is surprisingly large, and so if you're staying in Caesar's Palace, for instance, and you think, okay, the conference is in Caesar's Forum, I'm in Caesar's Palace. My first year, even I didn't realize that was a 15-minute walk.
Yeah, not close.
To get there, and so you got to be really watchful about where you're staying versus the conference. And I think I've learned over the years, sometimes it's better to pick certain days and then block your time. So when you go to the conference, stay there for the whole day or stay there for the rest of that day. And if you need to spend the first couple hours in the hotel, then do that as well. And being in the West Coast, if you're from Central Time or Mountain or Eastern Time even, you can use that early part of the morning to do some phone calls before the day really ramps up in the West Coast time.
Great. That makes perfect sense. And it honestly takes us right into our next section, which is on getting around the Caesars Forum and navigating the area. So I guess the first thing is, Adam, I'd love to hear from you on one thing, which is like when it comes to staying in Las Vegas, is it best to kind of try to save money and stay off the strip and get an Airbnb, or are these NetSuite, the 3 recommended hotels really worth it as far as timing?
It's interesting. I'm about 50-50, I think, on staying at the NetSuite recommended hotels or staying off. It's interesting because you've got the 4 that are like right around, or sorry, the 3 that are right around Caesar's Forum.
Yeah.
The Flamingo is awesome, and I think the rates are pretty inexpensive at the Flamingo. Caesar's Palace is kind of across the street from what we're seeing here, across the strip. That's also a good option. But we've stayed off strip too, as like us as a team, as we've gone out there, and that works really well too. There's some places kind of by Caesar's Forum that are off the strip that are really good options too. So you can't go wrong as long as you're kind of close. And nothing's in the Forum, right? There's nothing that's going to put you right in the center of the action. But at the same time, as long as you're within a little ways here, you're always going to be about a 10-minute walk away. And some of those off-strip properties are a lot quieter.
Quieter. One thing to know is you could end up walking 30, 40 minutes. I've had clients go before and be like, oh, I'm going to stay at the Harris. It looks like it's right down the block. And they don't realize that in Las Vegas, that's more like 3 blocks with different stop signs and huge traffic crowds and stuff. So yeah. If you're going to be at the distance, be prepared to drive in every day. That's definitely going to be a lot easier from driving farther.
Yeah, it is.
Keep in mind, like 1 inch on this map is like a 10 or 15-minute walk. They look close, but they're not that close.
Yeah, if like your favorite hotel is like the Bellagio, or like you want to stay at Aria, like those are like taxi range. Like they look close and they're not even that far on paper, but it takes forever to navigate if you haven't been and navigated that before.
Yeah, 100%. And we will send this visual out, but just as a walking tip here, there is a sky bridge that connects the Link Hotel, Harrah's, and the Caesars Forum. So if you are staying in one of these hotels, or even if you walk in from the Flamingo through the Link, you do not even have to walk outside in the Vegas heat. You can pop straight down from your hotel room and take the sky bridge directly to the Forum which also does save time if you need to take meetings or get back to your hotel room quickly for things like that during the day, and just saves a lot of time walking, honestly, from anywhere you need to go.
Yeah, and just navigation generally here. Like if you're at Harrah's or the Link, definitely do the Sky Bridge. There's signs that'll point you to Caesar's Forum. For everybody else, it is go straight under the high roller. Like just walk towards the high roller. You can see the high roller from everywhere. Just go straight underneath the high roller, and there's access that goes literally directly under the high roller into this other side. So there's really two entry points to get in.
Yeah. And then just so you know, the other hotels, like Adam said, Caesars is right across the street here, and the Venetian is right here on the backside of the Caesars Forum, just so you're aware of the other hotels in the area, or at least so you know if you get invited to events at either of those places, they are at least in a comfortable walking distance from the Forum. And then on just scheduling for the day, Chris Warnett, I'd love to hear from you. Like if you're eating breakfast or lunch in the tents, any tips to navigating that? Especially if you're trying to find you, if someone would like to meet up with you there. No.
Yeah, I mean the food's fine at the tent. There's a strip right there, what Adam was talking about, of how to get into the Caesars Forum. There's a whole strip there with nice restaurants and in and out if you like it. So that's definitely one you can check out. And but the food in the tent is not bad. I would say it's great. One thing that I like to do personally, and where people can often find me, is they'll give a window of like an hour and a half or 2 hours for meals, even though nobody eats for that long. From a networking, really, this gets more into the networking side. I find that if you go like at the beginning and I just sit down with like a small plate and I eat a little bit, like pretending like I'm eating, you can talk to a lot of people in the tables because it's always a mix of random people. And then you talk to them for 10 minutes and, oh, I got to go now. And then I just drop my plate off. I go get another plate and I sit at a table 3 tables down. You can talk to a lot of people that way. That's been always the best way for me to meet a lot of people and just get a lot of interaction with clients in terms of what they're dealing with on NetSuite, or if they're looking for a particular type of solution, et cetera. That's a great way to network.
Great. Okay, good. And then anything that you have learned from attending that will help avoid wasting time for getting around at SuiteWorld, Chris Miller, if there's anything just to navigating the spaces that saved you time over the years.
Boy, I can't tell you how many times I've actually gotten lost in the casinos. And so as I've wandered around, they've had to put an alert out for me. They're not easy. And so I would definitely kind of like, because we had that map, like learn some of those routes. Because kind of like Adam was talking about, finding the Sky Bridge, I missed it a 1 year, didn't even know. It's the landmark of like just head towards the high roller. That's probably should be our mantra, for for our high roller takeover too. But knowing it, just head towards the high roller is a really good thing if you get turned around. There's a lot of those. So I tend to try to learn your way around inside the casino. There's going to be a couple of routes that as you follow them that can really save you a lot of time. You'll still get there, but it's just between like walking like half a mile and like a mile and a half if you end up going the wrong way.
Yeah, the high roller is the big Ferris wheel, by the way. You can see it.
Yeah. If you are staying in one of those hotels, 2 tricks, just because I learned this myself. The Skywalk is in District 3 at the Link, and then at Harrah's there are big signs that say Link Caesars, and that is to the Caesars Forum. So if you're looking for one of those 2 signs, they'll help you, because the first year it's not easy to navigate. Yeah. And then any other tips from any of you on just getting around the area in general?
Yeah, just plan your day, I would say. That would be my biggest recommendation. If you have a partner happy hour that's at a place that's close, quote unquote close, like just be aware that could be 25-minute walk, and just be aware of that. So you might want to plan your day accordingly of don't think you're going to pop back to the hotel for a quick call and then pop back to the conference and then pop out to a happy hour. Like you could end up walking for an hour or 2 when you string all those things together. So just keep that in mind, and I think wear comfortable shoes, as Cindy said here in the chat, and be ready to kind of like experience it from that perspective.
And one of the things that always catches me off guard, one is I'm in Colorado, starts to cool down in September. We get into October and it's like kind of sweater weather, and you go there and it is not the same. It is very hot. Sometimes there's really hot days in October, and especially early October. And then the other thing is, to Derek's point, like the walking. Like there is just so much walking, so comfortable shoes, and then you get inside, and sometimes it's freezing cold inside. So like layers and comfortable shoes is always helpful, but always make sure you have like a t-shirt on that you can strip down to on when you're outside and it's super hot.
Yeah, just so you know, for math, just be aware that you'll probably be walking 10,000 to 20,000 steps a day just between navigating the expo hall and getting to and from your hotel. So comfortable shoes as opposed to cute shoes or anything else are a huge must.
A lot of people pack their cute shoes in their backpack.
Yeah,
I know Chris does. He puts his cute
Yeah,
shoes.
absolutely. One thing to avoid too as a first timer, if you haven't been there much, is this is not the only conference going on in Las Vegas. And so I have been guilty of following a person wearing a lanyard thinking they were going to the same conference as I was, only to discover they were at some completely different conference, and I had no clue where we were going once I realized that. So just make sure if you decide to follow, you're following people at SuiteWorld and not at like the SAP conference or something like that.
Yeah, there actually is a huge conference at the Venetian the same day we're there. We have some clients going to, so you will end up at the Las Vegas Gaming Convention if you're not careful. And then Cyrus, I saw your question, and that kind of takes us right into our next section here, which is on networking and after hours. So Adam, this first question is for you, which is, going to SuiteWorld either on the ground or beforehand, you can get invited to so many receptions and parties, etc. How do you kind of decide what to attend?
I mean, the big event Wednesday night is always awesome. I am biased, but the high roller event that we put on with CrossCountry, I think is a must do, as well as that Wednesday night big event. The high roller is great because it's right outside the convention, and you roll in, and if you time it right, you can get up there right around sunset and watch the sunset over Vegas. It's beautiful. It gets you out of the heat. It's a great way to kind of relax at the end of the day. But the big thing is, like, I would argue from a networking perspective, like always, like try to find like your people, right? Like Chris mentioned, if you're in the WD industry, the manufacturing industry, like go back to the booths or go to the vendors that are there that kind of support those, and meet, and you'll find other people that are in very similar situations as yourselves, and talk about the different business models, how they solve some of these issues, and that's a really easy way, is just to get in, to those different, finding your people at the different booths that are going on, or the different sessions, right? Like if it's a WD specific session, like you'll find a lot of people that are in similar industries than you there. So
yeah. And would you consider the parties the best place to network, or is it?
No.
Okay.
Like they tend to be very loud. There's alcohol, like music, it's loud, it's fun, but like networking, yeah, I don't find it. Maybe I'm different, but like it just doesn't feel like that. Like there's a lot of people super interested in like work, and like it's a good place to meet people. It's a good place to have fun, but like deepening your knowledge of NetSuite, those don't tend to be the places. Yeah.
I would chime
the
in
high
on
roller
that
is the exception. The high roller is phenomenal. Yes.
I think that's been one of the problems that we've been trying to solve too with SuiteWorld in the past, is that it is hard to have good networking conversations because the expo floor is loud and very sales oriented and tough to sort of meet new people at a booth. I mean, you'll meet a lot of people that want to introduce you to their products at the booth, but like other than that, like in terms of networking, I think what Chris was saying about the lunches and the meals, like they serve breakfast and lunch at SuiteWorld, and so I think that's a great place because everybody's sitting at a round table. You come down, you sit at the table, and you can easily start a conversation with what company are you from, or what are you guys interested in? What sessions are you going to? Just easy questions to sort of spin that up. The partner events are definitely loud, and unless you know people that are there, it can be a little difficult to make introductions. And certainly around the areas, if you go to sessions and then hang around after the session, that is a great way to meet interesting people, because someone will ask a question and in a session, that question was interesting to you that they asked. After the session, everybody hangs around. You can go up to them and say, hey, I really was interested in your question. Can you tell me more about something in that regard? And that's usually where I've found people meeting other people and colleagues, and then you can kind of form a little group through the days together.
Great. And that kind of leads me to my next question, which is for Chris Warnett, which is what, even if you're not an introvert, the amount of people at SuiteWorld can be very overwhelming. And it can be like, where do I start? How do I start conversations and even begin networking here? Do you have any tips for attendees on how to just kind of start one-on-one conversations and kind of avoid the burnout of being there with 10,000 other people?
I don't know. As a client, I guess, I mean, for me, I'm always just trying to find out what clients are running into. Like, why are they at SuiteWorld? What are the problems they're trying to solve? For other people, it always starts, like Derek said, if we're at a meal or something like that, just where are you guys from? Why'd you guys come to SuiteWorld? Is this your first one? And usually someone will start talking. They'll say, oh, yeah, this is my third one. I'm coming because, man, I can't get blah to work, and I'm just trying to find somebody. They'll just kind of start talking about what they're dealing with. That's what I found.
Yeah. And I think one thing that I've seen as well is that if you want to meet new people, right? If you're coming to SuiteWorld and you want to network and you want to meet new people that are similar to you, go through the partners or the solutions, right? Like if you come up to, if you've worked with us before, or come up to me and say, hey, our company's in this industry. Who else is in this industry that that's here? Because I know a lot of people that are coming to SuiteWorld. Or if you go up to the NetGain booth and you say, hey, we've used the net asset product for this particular way in our business. Is there anyone else here of? Like asking that, we will happily introduce you to other customers who are in a similar position, in a similar industry, using similar products. And the same applies to any of the vendors in SuiteWorld, right? If you go and talk to one and ask for recommendations of people you should meet, et cetera, it's always very, very easy to make those connections.
Makes sense. And then I guess it's important too, because when people are meeting like that, obviously, that leads into some of the bigger opportunities. And we have guys who are coming, obviously, not to just sell a product, but they just want to network in general. So even these lighter conversations, if you do want a solution, go to someone you already know, your general provider, even the NetSuite booths in general, and they can help direct you. Or if you just want to find out where people are from, start conversations and meet like-minded individuals. The meals are great. Starting with where are you from? What did you come here to find out about? Seems like a really good solution as well.
And I love talking to our customers. So if you've got people you've already worked with, apps you're using, I know they'll be very excited to see you at the booth. So
good. And then Chris Miller, I know you are a party animal. So I would love to hear from you on any tips for people attending all these after hours events and the parties on stuff on kind of how to avoid burnout when you're going to all these things and making it through the long days at SuiteWorld.
Oh man,
we're long passed out while Chris Miller's still going.
yeah. Everyone's out. I get started about 3 a.m. I guess it's. But no, in all seriousness, you kind of gotta. Everyone's got kind of their limit, of how much time you can be out doing where you run that, and I think you got to be sensitive to that for yourself. Some people are supercharged by seeing all the people. Other people, it's like you're more introverted and it's great, but then you got to go do that. So I would, know yourself is probably the first thing. When it comes to that, I don't drink, so I don't know how to do that, but we always give everybody at NetSuite, when you're an employee, you always get this speech of don't be that guy. So maybe we start with not being that guy, and then you can have a lot more fun. I would say that a lot of what happens out there is do use this time to network. You know, all the sponsors, they really want to meet with customers. They're looking for a way to go. Have a good time. The Wednesday night party is the best. I don't know if they'll ever top Ozzy Osbourne and Billy Idol that they had about 7 or 8 years ago.
And ZZ Top was part of that
Top.
too.
That was kind of the peak concert that they had. But you know, I think we'll be looking forward to that. The other thing is, there is a lot going on, and you know, if you're kind of looking for that, talk to your partner. Like here, you know, hey, CrossCountry, what events are going on? I'd like to learn, because they're great opportunities. There's all of those things. So just kind of have your ear out, and you know, do what do. Have a great time, but just make sure you know you don't overdo it, so you can hit those morning sessions on Wednesday and Thursday. Those are important.
That's right. Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of Oracle NetSuite employees not walking in a fully straight line come Thursday morning. So I think careful what you sign up for with them at that point. But yeah, no, I would agree. And you know, pro tip on the party: if you have the budget, you can always Uber home from the party. You don't have to wait for the bus. So if you got an extra $30 in the budget, that might sometimes, except when it takes an hour to get back when the party's done, boarding the bus and getting back to the hotels and everything. So I usually try to walk or Uber back, depending on where they're hosting it.
That might be the most valuable tip you take away here. It's the last thing you want to do is sit in line after the
yeah, and it is good to know that you will usually have to use transportation for the party. It is not right in Caesars Forum for people who are attending for the first time. It is in another location, and there are usually buses that go, but it can be quite a wait.
Yeah. Has anyone heard a rumor about who's performing this year?
Man.
No,
it's always surprising. It's always a big name. It's always good. But yeah, I haven't heard anything.
It was Journey last year. That was a good one.
Yeah, and then one last important question for you guys on this section: restaurants in Las Vegas, especially around the area. What should people know about? What should they be trying while they're there?
I mean, I would say, just as a comment, there's a lot of partners and vendors that want to give you free food. So if you depends on your budget, but you know, you might want to take advantage of that if you're there. There's lots of great restaurants. So this is a little tip.
I don't know, the best restaurant, in my opinion, in all of Vegas that I go to 2, sometimes 3 times. It's not close at all. It's at the Aria. It is Din Tai Fung, and it's soup dumplings. They're amazing. Like they don't, anyway, that's what I do every single time. So if you go there, say hello. I'll probably be there at Din Tai Fung eating. But yeah, Din Tai Fung is incredible. I think we ate at Prime Steakhouse, Derek and Chris. I was looking that up. It's in the Bellagio, right on the water. That's incredible too. But to Derek's point, yes, there are dinners happening all over all the time. So try to hitch your wagon to some. I mean, that's one thing about Vegas. I think it's got the best food, maybe in the entire world, right there on the Strip.
It does have an incredible scene, and I will just give you 2 tips on this. First of all, if you have a favorite celebrity chef, Google if they have a restaurant there that you want to try, because tons of them do. Gordon Ramsay, Thomas Keller, Roy Coy, all of them have restaurants in Las Vegas. And the second thing is, if you do want to do a separate dinner there, I do recommend making a reservation, because a lot of times you will show up to a restaurant and they will be fully booked for the night, especially with all the conventions in town. So if there is something you want to try, make time for it, find out where it is, make a reservation, just at least so you have that as well. But definitely take advantage of those partner events and dinners as well, because you'll get plenty of amazing food without going anywhere. And then as we go into the last part, we're going to be talking about your packing list. What do people need to know to bring? What's important for going back and forth, all that sort of stuff. So we're going to start with Derek on this one. What are the things that people need to know to bring?
Oh man, I think we covered a lot of it, but like walking shoes is always good. Light clothing so that you don't overheat, because it can get really hot. I mean, for those of you who haven't been to Vegas before, like, it is dry heat, so that makes it a little bit nicer than my hometown of Florida here, but it is still really, really hot. And so being able to layer down and layer back up when you go in and out of the air conditioning is important. And yeah, just being comfortable when you're going around. I mean, it's pretty much business casual in SuiteWorld, you know, but most people are in some sort of a polo shirt or something like that. It's not super formal for most of the people, although it kind of goes across the entire spectrum. But I'd say prepping for that is good. And then, yeah, anybody else have any comments in terms of dress or things to bring?
For me, strangely enough, as one who doesn't drink alcohol or coffee, finding a Diet Coke is not that easy around SuiteWorld. Sometimes you have to go searching for that. So Diet Coke drinkers, take note. If you come across a spot to get one, make sure you remember that place, because sometimes it can be you find yourself walking around quite a bit looking for something, you know, that's much more of a like that.
That's a really good point. We had a couple of people who were local last year, and they went and stocked up at the gas station on their way. So they would bring like tons of water, like boxes of water and stuff like that, and then our just go grab that and keep it in their room, because it's hard to find bottles of water, Diet Coke, whatever you're looking for, and it's going to be super expensive buying it piecemeal at the store inside the hotel. And so I think that's something to keep in mind.
Like $4 for a bottle of water.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Like very expensive especially for water. So.
And there are Walgreens or some of the stores right there on the strip too, where you can get some of those. There's 7-Elevens off the strip, but like, so there's places you can get it. But when you find a Diet Coke, you grab 4 of them. And then like having like a snack like in your bag. Like, I don't know. For me, sometimes I would miss meals completely. Yeah. And so having like a snack or something was always helpful.
Yeah,
for me. I always like to carry something.
And I usually bring my own snacks from home, because I have I prefer like some sort of healthy snack versus what I might find roaming around Vegas. So I'll kind of bring my own snacks. And yeah, and usually Super Training Chris and I will hit up In-N-Out Burger most days at some point, which is only 4 or 5 minute walk from the Caesars Forum.
Fine dining. Also like one of those chargeable, those phone chargers that you can bring around that fit in your back. It's just easy to forget, and then it's suddenly nobody has a charger around you, and that's frustrating.
Yeah, and I think Cindy mentioned business cards as well. That is one thing that is very helpful to bring, because you make a connection with someone, and then you go to like share details, and like, I don't know, it's a little too awkward to like be telling someone your phone number and they're typing in their phone, but like having a business card, you can be like, you can just hand it to them and then connect up over email later. It makes it easier.
Yeah. And the one last thing I will just say is like water for sure. I do recommend just bringing like a non-disposable bottle that you can refill again and again, because you can empty it out, bring it on a flight, and then having room in a backpack, a swag bag, a purse, whatever you have, to carry that around with you, because you don't want to be doing like a 30-minute walk somewhere and not have any water available to you in the Vegas heat. Just as a recommendation on that.
We say all this. There's stuff there. They're always serving things, and there's always stuff. But to Derek's point or to Miller's point, like, if you need a Diet Coke, or if you need like whatever Snickers
Sweet
bar,
tea.
whatever protein bar, whatever you're like, it's impossible to find exactly what you need. And so if you're like me or Miller and you need a Diet Coke, you need to bring your own.
Got plan ahead.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned you can grab chargers. There's swag chargers all over the place. That is true, and very valuable tip if you need a charger. That's a good way to find one.
All right, and then I guess is our one thing to kind of cap off in the section. We'll go one by one, but I'd love to hear from you guys your top tip on getting the most value out of SuiteWorld for our attendees this year. So Adam, we will start with you. What is your top tip to get value out of attending SuiteWorld?
I think the top tip is to go with a problem. go with the problem you're facing that you want solved, and identify the vendors that can help you, the sessions or the NetSuite professionals that can help you, and go with like a mission and a purpose for one of your two top challenges that you're facing. The chances are whatever you're dealing with has been solved hundreds of times over in the ecosystem, and you just need to find the right people to help you solve it.
Great tip. Chris Warnett?
Just don't overdo it. I see people, they know they're spending a lot of money going to SuiteWorld, and so they book themselves from 7 a.m. until like the wee hours in the morning, and then by Wednesday they're just exhausted. Just keep in mind, it's a lot of walking, it's a lot of standing around. Just make sure you be sensible about it.
Great tip. Chris Miller?
It's kind of like Adams. This is the only time when you may like talk to, like, let's say a product manager at NetSuite or the VP of sales at the company. And if you say, hey, they will say the words, hey, why don't you email me about that? And they'll actually give you their email address and they will answer it. So what I do is you want to collect people that you can email that have the ability to do things. Like many of you get frustrated, say, with your account reps. Well, if you know a guy in product that you talk to met at SuiteWorld, you email him. It's amazing how much magic can start happening to solve a problem you've been dealing with for a long time. So don't hesitate to ask for, hey, could I send you a message or email you? Because this is the time when everybody's open. They'll say, sure, send me a message, and they'll actually, you'll get a response.
Great. And Derek?
Yeah, I would say on that similar vein as well, like try to make as many meaningful connections as you can with other customers, and feel free to ask people who you should be connected with. Like ask people if others have had similar problems and go find those connections, because I've seen with some of our clients that haven't done that, they wind up thinking about going the next year, and it was like, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, but I didn't necessarily make a lot of changes in my business or in my organization after I ended. And that's where, if you make the right connections that you can then lean on in the future, then you're never going to really have that issue. And so, yeah, if you see me there, feel free to ask me, and I'll make some introductions to some interesting people for yourself or your industry.
Great.
Yeah. Last plug. Come find us. We're all going to be there. We'll be there the entire time. Most of the time we'll be in the at our booths or at least in that partner forum, and the High Roller. We'll all be at the High Roller, so you can come find us. Again, I think it's great. It's kind of off hours, so it doesn't really conflict with a lot of the happy hours or events happening that night, and it's a good way to relax, get some quiet space, and watch the sunset, as well as I forgot to mention, what's that?
Sphere.
The sphere on the right-hand side is a whole nother thing. Like the sun was setting one time over Vegas. It was beautiful. And everybody was glued to the other side of the of the pod watching the sphere. So anyway, it's a good time.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, the High Roller is actually the largest operational observation wheel, Ferris wheel in the entire world. So it is definitely quite an experience. We're going to have, custom cocktails and snacks, and it's all air conditioned, which is also lovely. But it's about a 20-30 minute ride, and it gives you a chance to just network with maybe 10 other people in your booth while getting an incredible view. So, or your pod more. So yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Totally free, and we even have a swag bag. I think it sounds like Milan.
Yeah, we'll have the swag bags at the booth this year, so you can come get them right away. And I promise not to gatekeep them from you. We'll have them readily available. Right. Well, if anyone does have any questions, feel free to follow up with myself, with Raina. We're happy to help you guys, and thank you all so much for attending.
Thank you, Milan. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.